हाँ. Hello everyone, good morning, how are you all? So yes, who all are present here, kindly give me your attendance, and everyone who is live here, kindly give me your attendance and start discussion with this topic, because today we are going to discuss on the ending of the physics part, that is, we will be discussing on some of the semiconductor devices and some of the important questions which were previously asked. And tomorrow we will be having session in which we will be having mixed questions from the physics, and then we will come up with the chemistry. So without any delay, let's go with the first question. And what is the first question? Let's have a look here. What is the first question? The first question is, silicon is a dash. Now this is the question which was asked in SSC MTS 2013, and we have options: semiconductor, insulator, conductor, or electric resistor. What is the correct answer? So waiting for the answer from everyone, and then we'll start discussion over it. So waiting for the answer, and everyone who has joined the session, kindly like it and share it. And yes, please give me your name so that I can start interaction with you. So waiting for you all. The question is, silicon is a dash. Now it's a very basic question. We know, if I talk about these semiconductors, they are actually having those properties, those electrical properties, which are laying as a foundation in the computers or other electronic devices, right? Where we can even talk about the laptops, you can talk about even your MacBook, notepads, right? So yes, if I talk about the semiconductor devices, here we can talk about not only about silicon, we can talk about germanium as well, because this question is asked again and again, hence I've kept here. In the question it may be asked, chips are made up of what? Now if I talk about those chipsets, where we are talking about those circuits which are present on your motherboard or even in your mobile phones, those chips are made up of what? They are actually made up of these silicons, isn't it? Now these silicons are what? These are semiconductor devices. So just have a look. Silicon is what? So silicon is semiconductor. That is, on the semiconductor devices, we can take the example of silicon or germanium, which are actually used, because of which there is the easy functioning of electrical devices, and actually they are functioning because of presence of these silicons or germanium, which are actually semiconductors. Okay, so here option number A is correct. Next, what will be the effect on the resistance of a semiconductor on increasing its temperature? Now this is from MTS 2006. Now when we are talking about the semiconductors, so we must be aware of some of the important things, how they are actually dependent on several factors. So there is a question regarding temperature. So waiting for the answer from you all. If I'll talk about the effect on resistance of a semiconductor on increasing its temperature, what would be the answer? So waiting for the answer please, and then I'll be explaining what is this resistance and how it is actually dependent. And everyone who has joined the session, kindly like it and share it. So please, waiting for the answer. Answer please. See, whenever we'll talk about this resistance, what is this? Resistance is actually the obstruction. Now you must be thinking, sir, how it is actually obstructing? So let's have an example. If I'm talking about the movement of electrons, so if these electrons are moving, and if there is a thing that is not allowing it to move, now what will happen? This means there will be difficulty in the flow of charge, and hence it will create the difficulty in the generation of electricity, right? Because we know that electric current is generated when there is the flow of charge. If I'll talk about the positive charge, the current is flowing in the same direction. If I'll talk about the negative charge, the current flows in the opposite direction. So we have Jivita here. Hello Jivita, good afternoon. So Jivita, here's a question where we are discussing about resistance. So if I'll talk about this resistance part, this means it is actually creating the obstruction in the flow of charge. First thing. Now, how these semiconductors are dependent according to the temperature. So please remember, whenever we'll talk about the semiconductor, if temperature is actually increased, what will happen? Its resistance will decrease. That is, option number B will be correct answer. Again I am saying, whenever it is asked about the temperature's relation, please remember, if there is increase in the temperature of the semiconductor, then if I talk about the resistance, it is going to decrease. It is actually reciprocal to each other. So yes, option number B will be correct answer here. Got my point? Okay. So let's move forward with the third question. The next question is, what is the unit of physical quantity? That is, we are talking about the radioactive here, radioactive substances. So what is the unit of physical quantity, radioactivity? What is the correct answer over here? If I talk about radioactivity, what is its unit? So this is from Chsl 2016. Radioactivity. Remember, we discussed about it yesterday. So if I talk about radioactivity, we had some of the substances in which there was unstable nucleus. Remember, because of the instability there, what happens? Any of the element, we are talking about the radioactive element, if there is a nucleus which is actually not stable, what will happen? There will be the emission of alpha beta particles, right? If I talk about its emission, so these are actually dangerous. So we have Avan here. Hello Avan, how are you? So yes, what I was saying, I was talking about these radioactive elements. Radioactive elements are the ones where nucleus is actually not stable and they are keeping on emitting alpha and beta particles. And here, if I talk about this unit, so if I talk about the radioactivity unit, its unit is becquerel. You are absolutely correct, Jivita. But one more thing, who was the one who has actually discovered this radioactivity? So he was Henry Becquerel. His whole full name was Henry Becquerel. And one more thing, if I talk about the SI unit of radioactivity, so this is not only the unit, it is also the SI unit. In some of the cases, we think what? That Curie will be the SI unit, but no, SI unit is only one, and that is becquerel. Everyone is requested to please keep this in your mind. Whenever you see Curie as the option, no doubt it will be unit, but it's not the SI unit. Very important fact, do not forget. Okay, so Henry Becquerel was the one who has discovered this radioactivity. The unit is on his name itself, but SI unit is only becquerel, it's not Curie. Curie is the unit, but not SI unit. Okay, let's move forward. If I'll talk about Kelvin, so it's the same thing. Again, I'll explain. If I talk about the temperature, please remember, whenever we talk about temperature, so temperature's SI unit is actually Kelvin. It's not degree centigrade, it's not degree Fahrenheit. SI unit of the temperature is Kelvin, but yes, other units are degree centigrade. Then we have Reamer scale over there, right? So degree Fahrenheit, these are the units, but SI unit is Kelvin. In the similar manner, for the radioactivity also, SI unit is becquerel, but other unit includes Curie as well. Okay, let's move forward with the next question. And everyone who has joined the session, kindly like it and share it. Let's next. Radioactivity is due to what? So there's a question from Ssc Combined Metric Level 2002. What is the correct answer? Yeah, that's true. Actually, if I talk about Madame Curie, so Madame Curie, her full name was Marie Curie. So Marie Curie and Pierre Curie were husband and wife, and they discovered radium. And Marie Curie was the one who has received the Nobel Prize more than once. It is actually asked in the examination, please remember. More than once Nobel Prize was received by Marie Curie. Okay, let's get back to our point. Radioactivity is due to what? Is it due to stable nucleus, unstable nucleus, stable electronic configuration, or stable, unstable electronic configuration? What is going to be the correct answer? Yeah. So waiting for the answer, please. Avan, Jivita, others who all have joined the session, kindly like it and share it, and yes, start giving the answers so that we can start interaction. See, we are discussing each and every option which are important. Okay, so if I'll talk about radioactivity, we have understood. If I'll talk about some of the examples, can be thorium, plutonium, right? So if I'll talk about some of the radioactive elements, what is happening? Because of the instability in the nucleus, first option. Because of the instability in the nucleus, here what is happening? We can talk about the emission of alpha particle, beta particle, and yes, they keep on disintegrating. Fine. So yes, if I'll talk about its radioactivity, it is because of the unstable nucleus, and the units of radioactivity are, one of the unit is becquerel, another unit is Curie. There are several units, but the SI unit is actually becquerel. We have discussed this. Okay, so yes, Jivita, absolutely correct. Option number A was correct. Avan, I was waiting for your answer as well. Okay, so option number A is correct. Next, Curie is an unit of what? Now, we have discussed all those things, and I have explained this many times. So Avan, you are also correct. This is very basic question. Just have a look. It is from CGL. So everyone can answer this part, right? So yes, answer please, so that we can move forward with the next question. I don't want to explain now because we have explained everything. So these kind of basic questions are asked. But the only thing is that we must be clear with all our concepts. Again, I'll say SI unit was becquerel, but other units were totally correct one. It's very simple. We have understood that Curie is actually unit of radioactivity, and this Curie name is derived from where? Marie Curie. Marie Curie and Pierre Curie were the one who has discovered radium. Fine. Okay. So here option number A was correct. Let's get to the next question. Which among the following components is used in an amplifying device? Waiting for the answer. CGL 2016. Yeah, Jivita, you are absolutely correct. Now waiting for the answer for this part. Which among the following components is used as an amplifying device? See, amplification. Where do we require it? If I talk about old age people, for example, we can talk about grandfathers or great grandfathers. So at one of the age, after one of the limit, there is the issue that comes in the ear, that is hearing problem comes in. Now for those hearing problems, we use those small devices. Have you seen that? Those small devices are what? There we are actually using those hearing aid materials, that is we are helping out with those hearing problems, and there these transistors are used. So yes, the component which is actually used as an amplifying device is what? So it is what? Is a transformer, diode, capacitor or transistor? So here, if you are not aware of the answer, let me tell you, Avan, Jeevita and others, transistor is going to be the correct answer. Please remember, again I am saying, as an amplifying device, we are using transistor. Now if I talk about this transformer, we have discussed about it also. This transformer, many of us think that it is helping in the conversion from AC to DC or DC to AC, but that's wrong. So can you tell me what's the use of this transformer? Because I totally understand transistor may not be, you may be not be sure regarding this transistor, but you are sure about transformer, right? So what is transformer actually doing? Can you answer this question? Avan, Jeevita, what is the working of this transformer? What it actually does? Are you aware of these things? See, whenever we talk about transformer, please remember there is no such concept of AC to DC or DC to AC. I'll just directly do cross. But what it's functioning, if I talk about its functioning, what this transformer is doing, it is actually stepping up or stepping down the voltage. So step up or step down of the voltage is actually done by this transformer. Remember this part, that is voltage increment and decrement is done by this transformer. Next, this is the next question. Where is a transistor most likely to be found? This is from Chsl 2016. Waiting for the answer. And everyone who is there in the session, you are requested to kindly give the comments so that we can, yeah, that's true. If I talk about the John Barden, he was the one who has actually discovered it. Awesome. And Avan, this was previous year question also. We discussed about invention and discoveries yesterday, right? So yeah, great. Step up and step down. So I'm getting your comments quite late. I'll just check what is happening. Okay, so Jeevita, we have the answer, that is hearing aid. That's totally correct. We have just discussed about it. If I talk about this transistor, it is helping in what? It is helping in hearing. That is, we can talk about hearing aid. That's right. But why? Because it is actually acting as a amplifying device. So since it is acting as an amplifying device, that's why we can say that it is helping in the hearing aid. Old age people actually use it. Okay, cool. So let's move forward with the next question. Which of the following is widely used in making semiconductor chips? Very basic question, but from CPO 2017. Just have a look. What kind of questions are asked? Once we are cleared with all the concepts, we can easily answer them. So yes, answer please. Which of the following is widely used in making semiconductor chips? Is it radium, sodium, germanium or sulfur? What will be the correct answer over here? And everyone who has joined the session, kindly like it and share it. Yeah. Which of the following is widely used in making semiconductor chips? Is it radium, sodium, germanium or sulfur? Sir, Avan is saying, sir, fuse, tin and lead. For what? Okay. Yeah, that's true. If I talk about germanium or silicon, that would be the correct answer, right? So yes, if I'm talking about semiconductor chips, here we have the option germanium. So option number C is going to be the correct answer. Next, before moving forward, let me tell you. Yeah, Jeevita, absolutely correct. You are totally correct. Avan, awesome. So as we have example official application where we have live paid courses with the test series, we have job alerts, admit cards, we have all exam previous year PDF with the solution. All these things are there, even current affairs, monthly, weekly, all the kind of current affairs are there. So just go to the Play Store, type Exampur over there, click on the install button, click on the open part, just do the registration and start using it. Okay, so there's a next question. Instrument used to measure the wind speed is what? So the instrument which is used to measure the wind speed, is it altimeter, anemometer, chronometer or dogometer? What is going to be the correct answer? Waiting for the answer please. If I talk about the instrument which is used to measure the wind speed, it is what? Is it altimeter, anemometer, chronometer or dogometer? What is the correct answer? See, the thing is that it actually depends. For example, Jeevita, I'll give you an example. If I'll talk about oil fields, we are aware of several countries are famous for their we can either talk about its production or there would be mines regarding that. Fine. So wherever we have those particular productions, according to that, that particular country becomes famous, right? So you can directly relate from it. Yeah. So Jeevita is with B, sir. It would be anemometer. That's totally correct. So here, if I'm talking about anemometer, it is actually used for measuring the wind speed. Next, who invented radar? Now this one is important. What is radar? Before explaining that, I want this answer. Who invented radar? Is it Fred Morrison? Is it Hertz? Is it Van Tassel? Or is it W.K. Roentgen? Now here two of the important things are there which is asked in the examination again and again. One of the option is from X-ray part. One of the option is from radar part. So I want to explain both the things but need answer from everyone. Yeah, answer please. Answer. See, if I talk about radar, what is it? Its full form is radio detection and ranging. Where it is used? Here, any of the flying object which we are not aware of, that particular flying object should not enter into a territory. So what we use? We use radar for the same, so that we can actually understand which of the particular flying object is coming towards us. For example, we can talk about the territory of Pakistan and India. So if something which is coming from Pakistan's end, so we must detect that part. Okay, so this is the flying object that is entering to us. So who is the one who is actually detecting it? That is actually radar. That is radio detection and ranging. Now there must be someone who has actually discovered it, right? So who is he or who was he who has actually discovered radar? So I want to answer the Jeevita, Avan. If you are giving wrong answer also, then also there is no issue. The best part is if you will give wrong answer here, it will be beneficial in the examination, because in the main examination, you remember, oh, I gave wrong answer there, so this is the correct one. So yes, yeah, that's true. So Avan, I want the answer please, and that's great that you are aware of all these answers. Jeevita, what's the answer? Who invented radar? So please remember, he was Heinrich Hertz. Fine, Heinrich Hertz. Jeevita, option number B will be correct here. Now if I'll talk about the X-ray, please remember, whenever I talk about X-ray, it is very important because it is asked in the examination many times. Not only for the SSC examination. Last year it was asked in UPPSC. Then UPARO examination. Many of the examination are there where this is actually asked from the X-ray part. Obviously radar is also important, but this X-ray is most important. So please remember, X-ray was discovered by Wilhelm Roentgen. Fine. So yes, totally correct, Avan. Absolutely correct. And if I talk about radar, radio detection and ranging, it was Heinrich Hertz. Next. Cooking of rice is harder. Where? This is from CGL 2016. I'll explain the concept, but before that I want the answer. Answer please, everyone. If I talk about the cooking of rice, where is it difficult? Cooking of rice is difficult where? Answer please. And yes, if you have any sort of doubt, you can let me know. And yeah, Jeevita and Avan, you were not there when we were discussing about those electric circuits, right? We have discussed those electric circuits in the evening batch. So I'll just create some of the circuits and I want the answer from you all. But we'll be discussing that after 12:30 or 12:35. Okay, so we have answer from Jeevita, that is A. That is the top of mountains. What about you, Avan? Avan, what's your answer? So Jeevita, it's great that you have given the answer on the top of the mountains. Yeah, correct. So let's come back to a point. If I'll talk about this cooking of rice, it is actually harder at the top of the mountains. Why? If I'll talk about the top of the mountains, here, what is the issue? If I'll talk about the pressure, there's the lack of atmospheric pressure if I'll compare it with the grounds, right? So yes, please remember, what happens at the top of the mountains, whenever you are trying to cook the food, because of the issue in the pressure, what will happen? Before 100 degrees centigrade, your food will get cooked, because of which your rice are not going to get cooked in the proper manner. Again I am saying, your food will be cooked just before 100 degrees centigrade, and we know that water is boiling at 100 degrees centigrade, but your temperature will not reach there, and your food will be cooked prior to that. And in this manner, we can say that rice will not be cooked in the proper manner. So here, at the top of the mountain, there is a issue in the cooking of the rice. So what we can actually use here, so there's a device also which we are using on the daily basis at your homes. What? At our homes, if I'll talk about pressure cookers, right? So yes, we can use what? Pressure cookers, and both these questions are asked in the examination. Please remember, when someone asks you how we can cook proper food on the top of mountains, just use pressure cooker. One of the point. Second thing is, cooking of rice is harder where? On the top of the mountains. What is the issue? There's the issue in the atmospheric pressure. Remember what we discussed? We discussed about atmospheric pressure. Whenever we are talking about the atmospheric pressure, what is the device that we are using it? Please tell me the answer. The device which is used to measure atmospheric pressure is what? Answer please. Avan, Jivita, who can answer me? If I'll talk about the atmospheric pressure, so how can I measure it? Is there any device to measure it? What is the name of the device which is actually used to measure the atmospheric pressure? What is the name of the device? Can you tell me the name of the device? No one? Jivita, I thought you will be giving this answer in the first go. Avan, always your answers are always correct, so I am waiting for the answer. And this is the important one. It is asked in the examination again and again. Great. That's totally correct, Jivita. The correct answer is going to be barometer. Awesome. So if I'll talk about this barometer, we are calculating the atmospheric pressure here. Now just think, what if? Totally correct, Avan. Awesome. So if I'll talk about this barometer, so barometer is a device which is measuring atmospheric pressure. What if, there's the next question, I'll just discuss about it here. The condition is, when the barometer reading dips suddenly, it is the indicator of what? It is indicating what? Now this is the question from Ssc Sub-Inspector 2004. Sub-Inspector. So both the inspectors are here in the class. So both the inspectors need answer from you both. When the barometer reading dips suddenly, it is the indicator of what? Hot weather, calm weather, storm or dry weather? This is from the previous year questions and it is the important one. Answer please. When the barometer reading dips suddenly, it is the indicator of what? Answer. Yes. Very good, Avan. So Avan is the first one to answer this. Jivita, please remember what will happen if we'll talk about the barometer. If its reading suddenly dips, this means there would be storm. That is fast. Yeah, Jivita, totally correct. So Jivita, Avan, both of you are correct. That's great. So if I'll talk about the barometer, the correct answer is storm. Next, which of the following quantities does not have any unit? This is from Cpo 2017. Which of the following quantities does not have any unit? Is it speed, density, relative density or acceleration? What is going to be the correct answer? Answer please. What is the correct answer over here? Waiting. I guess I am getting your comments quite later. So if I am talking about the unit, see what we say. If I talk about speed, speed means what? Speed means we are talking about distance upon time, right? So it is meter per second, that is unit is there. But if I talk about relative density, that is we are talking about two of the densities, right? So here, when yeah, that's true, one. Great, awesome. So yes, if I talk about the quantity which is not having unit, that would be relative density, because whenever I'll divide anything, I'll divide, for example, speed of car and speed of bus. So it will be what? Meter per second or meter per second. I'll just cancel out the units. In the similar manner, when relative density is asked, this means we are comparing two of the densities with the ratio part. Fine. And there, when we'll be dividing two of the densities, one to the another. One would be for the reference and one would be for the particular product from which we are taking the reference and another we are referring to. So both of the units will be nullified, that is they would be cancelled, and hence relative density is the correct answer, that is option number C. Next, lubricant oil is used in the vehicle to do what? Now this is from Ssc Steno 2005. Lubricant oil is used for what? Lubrication. For what? So we know that whenever we will talk about lubrication, we can talk about greasing, we can talk about oiling, right? But why we are actually doing? So if I'll talk about the machines, in the machines we put oil, right? or greasing is done. In the similar manner for the bikes and all we can use. But why we are actually using it? For the combustion fuel, to make the flow streamline, to increase the friction or to decrease the friction. What is the correct answer here? Jeevita is saying, sir, to decrease the friction. Avan is with C, sir, to increase the friction. I knew there would be doubt in both. So let me explain this part. Avan and Jeevita, before giving this answer, I have a question. If I'm talking about my shoe, that is just below the shoe, there is threading that is done. Just have a look on your slippers also, whatever you are wearing right now, slippers, shoes, whatever is there. Just have a look. Just below your part where you are wearing it, just behind it, just have a look. There would be some threading that is done. Apart from that, if I'll talk about tires, there also this threading is done. Why this is done? In order to increase the friction. Whenever there would be the increase in the friction, we will not slip. That is, in order to prevent skidding of the bike or skidding of the cycle, or in order to prevent ourselves from slipping, we need to increase the friction, right? So in the similar manner, if I talk about the lubrication, we are lubricating in order to decrease the friction, so that the machine parts can move properly, or those bike parts or any of the parts where we are doing this greasing and oiling, so that we can decrease the friction and start working. So totally correct. I guess I am able to keep my point now. Okay, one. No need to say sorry. It's my work to explain you, and it's your work to understand that and just click the correct answer in the main examination. So great. If I talk about the lubricant oil, so it is actually used to increase the friction. So option number C will be correct. This is actually wrong. It will be helping in the increasing of the friction. Fine. Sorry. It will be helping in the decreasing of the friction. Sorry. It will be helping in the decreasement of the friction. Next. Knot is the measure of what? Knot is the measure of what? This is from text assistant 2005. Knot is what? So it is the speed of ship, or is it the curvature of the spherical objects? Is it the solar radiation, or is it the intensity of earth shock? What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? I am talking about the knot. Acha, so this was the thing, Avan. Why is it so? That's good. So okay, I'll come back to my point. If I talk about knot, you can just relate it with the nautical miles, right? See, I'll just tell you, this knot is actually the speed of ship, right? But if I talk about nautical miles, so do you know, normally we talk about the milestone. What is milestone? There's a kilometers are written. That okay, this much, for example, if I'm traveling from Delhi to Noida, so it is mentioned, okay, it is just 20 to 25 kilometers. So that is milestone which is there. If I talk about the distance, here on the road we are using kilometers as a distance, but in that waterways we are using those nautical miles as the distance. And whenever we are talking about the speed of that ship, we are talking about in the form of knots. So knots is actually the speed. If I talk about nautical mile, this would be actually distance. So both the things are important. Now one more thing is here. Can you tell me, if I'm talking about this distance, we are using kilometers, right? We use meters. So if I talk about astronomical unit, so it measures what? Can you tell me? This astronomical unit would be measuring what? Waiting for the answer. If I talk about astronomical unit, can you tell me? It is used for measuring what? Astronomical unit. It is used for measuring what? Waiting for the answer, please. If I talk about astronomical unit, what is the answer, please? Answer, please. No one? Acha, Avan has asked some question. Avan is asking, sir, 1 nautical miles is equal to what? So it would be around 1.8 kilometer. Fine. So yeah, that's true. See, whenever we're talking about this unit, so if I'll write light year or these units, these are actually measured for measuring the distance. So this is not for measuring the light and all. Fine. So I'll just have one more question if I want to. Yeah. I'll just make a diagram over here in order to explain it in the better manner. This is the sun. Now, Earth is revolving around it. Now, you must be wondering, sir, from this location to this location distance is lesser, from this location to this location distance is more. Why is it so? So actually Earth is having the elliptical path or other planets are having elliptical path. So this distance would be y and this distance would be x. Because of this particular part, we can totally understand when the Earth is actually on the revolution part, when it is at the maximum distance, we are feeling what? At this time, since sun is far, so we can understand there would be some sort of, we can say, temperature difference would be there. Lesser temperature, higher temperature, where we can talk about the perihelion and aphelion part. In the geography subject, sir will be explaining you in the detailed manner. I am just giving you a basic idea. So there must be some distance, right? So if I talk about the average distance, so in that particular part, this is not the exact now. So that's why if I talk about this distance and this distance, so average that we are taking out, we are talking about that particular distance. Got my point? So in this manner, we are actually relating with that distance. What if I ask you the longest unit of distance? What is the longest unit of distance? So now this is my question. Who can answer me? What is the longest unit of distance? And this is asked in the examination again. Very important question. I am asking about the longest unit of distance. No. That is quite different thing. This is the average or mean distance between the sun and the earth. Fine. So yeah, what is the longest unit of distance? Waiting? Yeah, that's true. So if I talk about the longest distance, please remember that would be parsec. Fine. This is actually asked in the examination and it is very, very important. Do not forget. Okay. So we were discussing about this nautical mile we have discussed. Okay. So there was a question, I guess, Avan, you have got my answer now. It would be 1.8 kilometers. Okay. So let's get back to our next question. Parsec is the unit measurement of what? This is from Chsl 2016. So I have discussed all the things. I want answer in the first go, please. So is it the density of stars? Is it the astronomical distance? Is it the brightness of heavenly bodies? Or is it orbital velocity of giant stars? What is the correct answer now? And now you can actually relate it. We were discussing about one of the unit. Remember? We had the explanation and all. So answer please. Answer please. So that was the rough distance between the earth and sun, right? So here we have actually understand this part that yes sir, it would be what? It would be the astronomical distance and it is the longest distance. Fine. So option number B is the correct answer. Next. Name the first Indian who got Nobel Prize in the physics. This is from Chsl 2016. Who was he? Was he C.K. Naidu? Was he Rangnath Mishra? Was he Amartya Sen or was he C.V. Raman? Correct one. Answer please. Answer please. Avan is with B. Okay. So Avan has given answers that it would be C.V. Raman. Yeah. So C.V. Raman actually gave Raman effect, right? So C.V. Raman was the one. Jeevita, Avan, both of you are correct. Awesome. And everyone who joined this session, kindly like it and share it. And please start commenting like Jeevita and Avan. So yeah, both of you are correct. If I talk about the Raman effect, that was given by C.V. Raman and he was the first Indian to receive the Nobel Prize in Physics. Next. In a rechargeable cell, what kind of energy is stored within the cell? This is from Ssc Section Officer 2007. What kind of energy is stored there? Who can give me this answer? So is it electrical, potential, chemical or kinetic? What kind of energy is stored there? Yes, answer please. See, rechargeable cell. This means there would be some sort of energy which is actually converted into the electrical energy, because of which we can actually use that particular energy from using the torches and all. And yes, answer please. In the rechargeable cell, what kind of energy is stored within the cell? What is the correct answer over here? Totally correct. So here we know that the energy which is stored in the form of chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. Now if I talk about this energy part, please remember, here we will discuss about law of conservation of energy. What is that? Law of conservation of energy. Now, when we are talking about the law of conservation of energy, this means energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another. True? One, that's great that you know all these things. Now, if I talk about the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. True fact. But if we talk about these two energies, one is kinetic energy, one is potential energy. Two type of energies. Now I have some question. Before explaining that part, let me put one more point. Kinetic energy is possessed when the object is actually moving. It is calculated how? We have a formula, half mv square. That means it is dependent on the velocity and mass. Mass is never going to change, so it actually changes according to the velocity. What if potential energy? Potential energy is not dependent on the moving part, because it is actually stored when it is stationary. So mgh, m is the mass, g is the gravity, h is the height. Now my question is, if we are talking about an aeroplane, there's an airplane which is moving in this direction. So this airplane is possessing which kind of energy? First is potential, second is kinetic, third is chemical, and fourth one is A and B both. What is the correct answer in this condition? This is the important one. It is asked in the examination again and again. So airplane is moving in this direction. I am asking this, the energy which is there in the airplane is what? Is it potential, is it kinetic, is it chemical, or is it according to option number A and B, both? Answer please. Yes, Avan. Yeah. So, but answer for this please. Aeroplane is moving, and at that time it is possessing which kind of energy? Is it potential, kinetic, chemical, or both? Kinetic and potential. See, I am talking about movement. Yeah, Jivita. So if I talk about this movement over here, please remember what is happening, since it is having mass and it is having velocity also at that time, right? So it is having, how we can calculate it? This is half mv square, but along with that it is having some height, right? So from ground till here it is having some height. It has mass and gravity is also acting. So it is having both kinetic energy and potential energy. So this is important. Avan and Jivita, please remember, moving aeroplane is having both the energies. Now one more question is there, which is there. The question is, if you have thrown a stone upwards, at that time I want to ask, the stone has reached the peak point. Fine. At this peak point, now it will come down. When this particular stone is coming down, at which position it will have the maximum kinetic energy? At which position it will have maximum kinetic energy? Can you answer this part? My question is, stone was thrown upwards. After reaching the peak point, it came downwards. So at which particular location the kinetic energy will be maximum? First option is at the top. Second option is in between. Third option is reaching ground. After reaching the ground. Or my fourth option is just before reaching the ground. Just before reaching the ground. What is going to be the correct answer? Totally correct. If I talk about this maximum kinetic energy, we are talking about the law of conservation of energy, right? That is, if I talk about the potential and kinetic, it is actually in such a manner, one of them is increasing, one of them is decreasing, that is, overall energy will remain conserved. So just before reaching the ground, kinetic energy will be maximum, because as soon as it touches the ground, now what is going to happen? At that time, totally correct. So here option number 4 will be correct. That is, before just reaching the ground, kinetic energy will be maximum. Okay, so this was the question. Now moving forward to the next question. There's a next question. The energy emitted by the sun is due to what? Now I have to explain two things here. Is it nuclear fission or nuclear fusion or chemical reaction or all of the above? So Udbhav has given the answer. Great, Udbhav. Good to see you in the class. Hi, how are you? So yes, my question is, the energy emitted by the sun is due to what? This is from SSC Section Officer 2005. Jivita, Udbhav, Avan and everyone who is there in the session, kindly let me know. Just before reaching the ground, Avan. If you will say after touching the ground, the answer would get wrong. Totally correct, Jivita. If I am talking about the sun's part, please remember, the energy which is coming from the sun is due to the nuclear fusion. Now, during this process, there's a large amount of energy which is generated, and because of this energy itself, we are actually surviving. Now, there are two different questions. First question is, if I talk about hydrogen bomb, and another question is from atom bomb. Hydrogen bomb and atom bomb. So we have only two options now. We have only two options here. First of all, you need to tell me hydrogen bomb is based on what? Nuclear fusion or fission? And then we'll discuss about atom bomb. Because both of them are actually opposite to each other. One is actually in the process of combining. One is actually in the process of splitting. And in both of the cases, there would be huge devastation. But yes, answer please. Hydrogen bomb is using which type of process? Is it nuclear fission or fusion? So Avan has given the answer fusion. Jivita, you are with which option? Fusion or fission? Answer please. Answer please. No one? Okay, so whenever I talk about this fusion process, please remember, sorry, this fusion process is actually seen in the case of hydrogen bomb, but if I talk about fission, this is in the case of nuclear bomb. Now I have written this difference because of one of the important reason. Yeah, that's true. That would be uncontrolled chain reaction, Jivita. Now my question is, which one is more dangerous? Is it hydrogen or atom? Which one is more dangerous? It is also asked in the examination. Which one is more dangerous? Is it hydrogen or atom bomb? Answer please. Which one is more dangerous? I'll just write the question. Which one is more dangerous? And with what potential, that I'll explain. So atom bomb was discovered by Robert Oppenheimer. That's totally correct, and I gave you the trick also. There would be the high amount of people who will die. In Hindi we say that log mar jayenge. High mar. So Oppenheimer was the correct answer, who has actually discovered the atom bomb. But I'm talking, which one is more dangerous? Answer please. See, if I talk about this intensity of these two bombs, please remember this hydrogen bomb will be 1,000 times extra devastation will be done by hydrogen bomb in comparison to atom bomb. This was actually research which was done. So from that part we came to know hydrogen bomb is actually more dangerous than atom bomb. In the similar manner, if I'll talk about this fission and fusion, this reactions and all, please remember we have nuclear reactors, we have heavy water, we have graphite rods, we have cadmium rods. So that one part we will be discussing in the nuclear chemistry in details. But right now we must understand only this part, that if I'm talking about the nuclear fusion, that is I'm talking about the fusing. Fine. And what is actually helping out there? There we are doing the bombardment of the neutrons, because of which this particular process is taking place. And yes, this nuclear reactors generates power in such a manner which is actually helpful for us in running those ACs, even your mobile phone, laptops. So, but in India, the maximum energy is actually derived from the thermal power plants. But yes, nuclear power plant also plays a significant role. But for India, the maximum power that is coming is from the thermal plants. Please remember this part because it is asked in the examination from the previous year part. Okay, let's move forward now. So nuclear fusion was the correct answer. You all have given that. Next question is, a stone is dropped from the roof of the house towards the ground. The kinetic energy of the stone will be maximum where? So we have just discussed when it will be just before it touches the ground. We have discussed this part. Next question is, before moving forward, let me tell you there is an exam for official application. You have all those things which you want for the examination, whether it is PDFs, previous year PDF, whether it is current affair, everything just as at a single platform. Just go to the Play Store, type exam4, click on the install button, click on the open part, do the registration and start using it. Okay, so we have a dynamo. What is dynamo actually doing? So if I'll talk about dynamo, yeah Jivita, that was correct. If I'll talk about dynamo, it is doing what? So it is actually generating what? Electricity. Fine, I'll give you the example of a dynamo, till then you can give me the answer. When we are talking about a dynamo, so here we can, just a second. Yeah. When we are talking about a dynamo, you can talk about an example in which you can use this dynamo's experiment at your home itself. You can create this experiment at your home itself. What you can do, just take the bicycle tire, the tire of the cycle, in which spokes are there. If you will try to rotate that spoke, and if you connect the wire and a small LED connected with that wire, that LED will start to glow, that is, it will actually light up. Now you must be wondering, sir, is it really possible? It is possible. I have experimented that, and that is actually the dynamo. So everyone, Avan, Jivita, Udbhav, who all are present in the class, there's an experiment which you can conduct at your home. Just take two wires, connect those thin wires with the LED, one of the LED bulb, small one, small LED bulb, and put that wire with the spokes and try to rotate that spoke of, sorry, that wheel of the cycle. When you just touch with that spokes now, this will actually start to light up. So this is actually the dynamo, and what is happening? I was talking about the moving of the pedals, right? Because of which that wheel will rotate. So this is what mechanical work that you are doing, mechanical energy, which is being converted into the light energy. So yes, mechanical energy to electrical energy, this would be converted. Sorry, not light energy, electrical energy, because bulb will light up. Got my point? So that is the example of a dynamo. So mechanical energy to electrical energy. Next, a body falls from an aeroplane, then there is the increase in what? A body is falling from the aeroplane, there is the increase in what? This is from MATRIC level 2013. Is it kinetic energy, mass, acceleration, or potential energy? What I am talking about any of the object which is coming down when it is thrown from the aeroplane. So body falls down from an aeroplane, then there is the increase in its kinetic energy, mass, acceleration, or potential energy. What is the correct answer? It is possible because you are applying the mechanical energy over there. You can take the example of one here. When we are talking about hydroelectric dams, right? So how those hydroelectric dams are working? Water is falling on the turbines. Turbines are rotating, and that mechanical energy is converting into the electrical energy, because of which you are actually watching this lecture, or even you are using hair dryers and all, right? So yes, you can experiment it out. That is actually dynamo. Okay. So Jivita is with A, Avan is with A, kinetic energy. See, when we are talking about the kinetic energy, please remember, we know that whenever the object is falling down, this means potential energy was maximum at the peak, but as soon as we will get down, kinetic energy will become on the next level, it will keep on increasing. Mass never changes, acceleration remains constant, potential energy will decrease, and hence only the option which is left is your kinetic energy, and kinetic energy will actually increase. Next, chemical energy is converted into the electric energy. What is the option here? What is the correct option? Dynamo, electric fan, battery, or atom bomb? So we have Udbhav's answer also. Udbhav, very good. You have given the correct answer. Very good, Udbhav. Very good. Okay. So I was talking about chemical energy which is converted into electric energy. Is it dynamo, electric fan, battery, or atom bomb? We have discussed about it. Very basic question. What was that? We were talking about the chemical energy which is stored in the battery, right? So that is converted into the electric energy. Now, here battery would be the correct answer. Now there's a question which was asked yesterday. If I talk about the water lifting pump, we are converting what? So which particular energy is converted into which energy? Water lifting pump. We are talking about the submersible pumps and all. So these 2-3 questions were discussed yesterday also. I have kept this because one of the question was there which was undiscussed. So yes, we will be discussing that part. But before that, if I am talking about the groundwater, we are lifting it up. So here we know that for doing this, we are using the electric pump, and one of the energy is converted into another. So can you tell me which energy is converted into the which part? Electrical energy to the potential energy. That's totally correct, Jivita, because when we are lifting it up, that means we are having height h, right? So here, if I'll talk about the electrical to potential, that would be the correct answer. So here option number A is correct. Although here option D is given, but the correct answer is option number A. So I'll take it double time so that you can remember. Electrical energy is converted into the potential energy. Why? Because there was the increase in H, right? mgh, height, that is potential energy. So option number A is correct. Totally correct, Avan. Jivita, option number A is going to be the correct answer. Next. So energy in the foods can be measured with which unit? This is from CPO 2017. Whenever we are talking about the energy, remember that would be in the form of what? So here we can talk about calorie. That is calorie. But Kelvin is what? If I talk about Kelvin, it is for measuring the temperature. So food's energy is actually calculated with the calories. So there's a question in which there was a doubt yesterday. Again, I'll just complete it. Flying jet is possessing what? You have already answered this. That is both kinetic and potential energy. That is option number D will be correct. We have explained this part, right? Next, when the speed of a moving object is halved, so what will be there in change in the kinetic energy? Mahasid, Avan, I am unable to get this point. What is mgh? So yes, if I'll talk about this half mv square, if I'll talk about the velocity that is halved, what is going to happen? Half m v by 2's whole square, that is it will be 1 by 4 of 1 by 2 mv square. That means I will say that it will become 1/4. So if I'll talk about the option that is A, so kinetic energy will become 1/4 of the original. Next, when a ball is thrown up vertically upwards, which of the following quantities remain constant during its motion? Now we are going to have more than one correct answer over here, and I want answer from everyone, because this was the question which we left yesterday, because of which I have kept 2-3 questions so that you can maintain the flow. Answer please. When a ball is thrown vertically upwards, which of the following quantities remain constant during its motion? So I'll write the options as well. Only A. Then we have option only B and C. Then we have only A and D, or we can write all of the above. These are actually the options. Just forget that these are the options. Forget these ABCD. These are the new ABCDs and need answer from everyone. So we have this particular part in which this is only A, only B and C, only A and D, and all of the above. What is going to be the correct answer? So Jivita is with A, so that is energy. Okay, others? We have just discussed about it in the previous question. One of the part that you are giving Avan and Jivita, that's totally correct. But can we change the options? Do you need to change the options? Answer please. You have to give more than, yeah. Which of the following quantities? Just have a look. We are talking about quantities. Answer please. Remember, whenever we are talking about anything, energy will remain constant, that's for sure. That is, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But please also remember, in this condition, this acceleration is also going to be constant. So acceleration is not going to change over here. Fine? True. Absolutely correct, Jivita. Totally correct. So here option number A and D, both of them would be correct. Fine. Okay then. From today itself, in the evening session, option 2. No, it would be C actually. Avan? Yeah, that's true. Energy and acceleration are not going to change. They are going to be constant. Remember this part. Fine. Okay then. From today's evening, we'll do what? In the evening session also, we'll keep previous year's question, and accordingly we'll continue theory. In the morning, as usual, we are getting all the SSC's questions, previous year questions, but in the examination of the, for the evening session, we have the examination which is oriented with the CGL part only. So for the CGL, previous year question will be there in the evening session between 6 to 7. So we will meet you all tomorrow between this 12 to 1 with the same time with all the previous year questions. But yes, this would be the mixed session tomorrow of physics part. Please remember, tomorrow we are going to discuss the mixed session of the physics, where we will be having all the topics from the physics and we will be having discussion. So we will be going with the super fast mode. At least we will be keeping 50 to 60 questions. It can be more also, but minimum 50 questions we will be keeping tomorrow. Fine. So meet you tomorrow at the same time. Marathon is there on the Saturday. Always marathon is there on the Saturday, but tomorrow we will be having previous year questions of the physics from all the chapters. So get revised, get your preparation done, and meet you tomorrow. Fine. So bye bye everyone. Please take care.